Hi Scorpio, this is Mimi with Divination by Mimi. Welcome to your August 2017 Tarot Oracle and a little bit of astrology report. There's a lot going on this month, so let me go over with what's going to be affecting you specifically to your sign. You have two rulers. You have a ruler and a co-ruler, or what's your current ruler and what in the past has been your ruler. So I'll give you the information on both of them. Your original ruler was Mars, and Mars at this point in time is in the sign of Leo. And I think that's for the duration of the month. Let me just make sure. Where are you, Mars? Yes, Mars is going to be direct and will remain in the sign of Leo for the duration of the month. And what that means is fast-moving, fiery energy. That's Mars, the war god. Moving, fast, fast, fast. As Dion Fortune refers to him, the cosmic surgeon. Just cut the bullshit and let's get moving. And he is in the equally fiery sign of Leo, which is also about motivation, creativity, self-expression. It can be arrogant. It can be agitated. But regardless, it is fast, fast, hot, hot, hot energy. Okay, so keep that in mind, that your ruling planet is in another fire sign. It's a fiery planet and a fiery sign. And it's direct, which means that your plans, although it may not seem like it, and considering other aspects occurring this month, like the Mercury retrograde, everything is on target for you. Now, the other ruler that you have, the more modern day ruler, is Pluto. Pluto is about things that have to do with death and sex. It has to do with, transformation, early motivations, things that happen to us in our past that motivate us now. And that sign, that planet Pluto, is in the sign of Capricorn, and it is in a retrograde status, and I believe that is for the duration of the month as well, and it is. So it is in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn is about stability. It is about structure, perceived security. Now, as we know, everything vibrates and nothing's really solid, but Capricorn is very much about solid security. And Pluto being so much about early childhood, motivations, death and sex. It's about those things that things like that, and when it's in retrograde, it's going back in time. So it's looking at early childhood, possibly pre-incarnation, but early childhood, early development, where you're looking at your ideas about what does security mean. What does sex mean? What is a healthy, safe sex? What is healthy, safe lifestyle? It also deals a lot with the cult and the subconscious. So you might be revisiting esoteric concepts, spiritual concepts, rethinking your path, and that's for you specifically. There are lots of other activities that are going to be occurring for all of us, that aren't necessarily related to your two ruling planets, but that will impact us regardless. So for starters, Mercury goes retrograde on the 12th of August and will remain in retrograde status until the 5th of September. So if you've heard this before, I'm sure, where it's like your car breaks down and the internet goes out and all that. That's all true, but really, because Mercury is the messenger of the gods, Mercury is an androgyne, so Mercury is about communication. So you find very often that in this time frame, communication is muddled, backwards, unclear. And this is why people recommend that you do not sign a contract or make a big decision like marriage or buy a house or starting school or taking out a loan or any of those things while Mercury is in retrograde, because the information may not be clear. Everything may not be, you may not be seeing everything, Okay, so if it's unavoidable and you have to do that within that time frame, make sure that you are reading the fine print on everything, that you're reading everything top to bottom. Okay, it's important that you do that because the energy can impact you for the next 6 months. So decisions that you make now that may not be the right decisions can impact you for the next 6 months. So just rethink making any decisions before the 5th of September. There are 2 eclipses occurring. There is a partial lunar eclipse on the 7th of August. That's at 15 degrees of Aquarius. And the moon will be full. Let's see, the time frame was, hold on. August, where are you? August. The moon is full at 2:11 p.m. and then the lunar eclipse occurs 10 minutes later at 2:21 p.m. This is Eastern Standard Time, both at 15 degrees Aquarius. Okay. Then there is that's a partial lunar eclipse on the 7th, but then on the 21st there is a full solar eclipse. And that occurs in the sign of Leo, at the very tail end of Leo, 28 degrees. So the moon becomes new at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The solar eclipse happens 5 minutes before that, 2:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at 28 degrees, 53 seconds of Leo. That's the tail end. You're like, okay, well, it's in Leo. Why is that a big deal? It is a big deal because right now, our North Node collectively is in the sign of Leo. Now, the North Node, you come into this world with your natal chart, and your natal chart's kind of like your progress report or your business plan for this lifetime. What are you going to accomplish this lifetime? And here's what you're working with. This is what you had. This is kind of like a report card from your last life. Okay. So the South Node, you come in with something that you've completely mastered. The North Node is something that we need to master for us to go and evolve to the next level. So we're talking about our collective soul here. And our North Node is in Leo, which means we need to learn and take on the high octave, the positive attributes of Leo. Those are things like self-expression, autonomy, confidence, not narcissism or arrogance, but confidence, joy, fun, and love. Leo is all about the heart center. Its ruling planet is the sun. The sun is in the sign of Leo when the eclipse happens, when the solar eclipse happens. And the sun is making a trine with the sign Uranus. And you're like, well, what does that matter? A trine is a very positive aspect. And on the 21st, there are 2 of those happening. One is a moon makes a trine with Saturn. Saturn you could think about as an energy that has to do with the law, institutions, the police, the government, things like that. Things you don't mess with, like the IRS, okay? The tried and true steady law. And the moon is about intuition, things unknown, relationships, definitely emotions. And it's making a trine, which is a positive aspect with Saturn, which is kind of like saying it's buttering Saturn up. It's giving him a hug or handing him a flower, holding his hand, giving him some love, which he desperately needs, softening him up to the big changes that are happening. So again, the sun, solar eclipse, at the very tail end of Leo, where our collective North Node is, in other words, what we need to learn to make it to our next evolution, right, is making a trine with the planet Uranus. Uranus is a very unpredictable energy, but the one thing you can predict is change, unexpected change. So this could be, I'm thinking, very good change. Now it could possibly be this unexpected but inevitable change that is occurring. It could feel uncomfortable at first. It's possible that that could be the case. But it is ultimately for our betterment. Based upon these aspects, the fact that they're trines, the fact that it's the sun, and the sun is in Leo, and it's being eclipsed, and it's happening at the tail end of Leo, where our North Node is, which is the next step in our evolution collectively. I just think it's very, very big. A lot of astrologers will tell you, and I'm not a 100% perfect astrologer, I'm still learning, but I know enough to know that Those are big aspects. So you can expect big changes, particularly on a macrocosm level. And for us, it's going to happen quite a bit here in the United States and in the United Kingdom. As I understand it, we're going to be seeing some big changes. So I won't belabor that point too long. So Scorpio, just be prepared for fiery energy, possibly aggressive energy in Leo, because one of your rulers is Aries, and then all of this other activity occurring in Leo, which is going to affect you. And then, of course, with Pluto being retrograde, that's going to affect your emotions a little bit. It's going to have you looking back and reflecting on maybe old hurts and wounds, but seeing how you can heal and fix those going forward. And that moon trine Saturn, right? Because right now the Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn and Saturn rules Capricorn. Because that moon is trining with Saturn, the moon being about emotions and things that are hidden, that might be a really nice aspect on the 21st where you can come to some conclusions about, your past, your childhood, old hurts, finding a way to make it work for you and to be good to yourself from here forward. I think one way I can be good to you is to shut the hell up and get on with your reading. So let's do that. I am using, this is this is really my favorite deck actually. This is the Night Sun Tarot. It's a Thoth-based deck, but it is very dark. It's almost like post-apocalyptic looking and tribal looking. It's really cool. So I'm going to be using this deck today. We're going to do a supernal triangle pull, which is 3 cards based upon the top 3 sephira or placements of either the Kabbalistic or Kemetic tree of life. So if you follow the Kabbalistic tree of life, this would be Keter, Hokmah, and Binah. If you follow the Kemetic tree of life, this would be, you could follow the Kemetic tree of life, not life. This would be Amenasur, Amenasur, Tahuti, and Sekert. For just plain old talk, the purposes of our conversation here, this is going to be superconscious, conscious, and subconscious mind. So what God Source wants you to know, what's kind of on your mind already, and what the subconscious is trying to tell you through symbols, dreams, maybe even this reading, thoughts that you might have, illuminations in your head that you might have, numbers that you're seeing, and your dreams. Pay attention to those dreams, because if you're like me, you're having some doozies right about now. Crazy shit. Alright, 2 more, and I'll get this going, because yours is already kind of long. I apologize, Scorpio. All right. What does Scorpio need to know? Superconscious, God Source, highest consciousness, pure will, highest version of the self, high mind. Oop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Oh, okay. 8 of Swords. So God consciousness is sort of telling you that you're not wanting to see the truth, or you are keeping yourself prisoner to your thoughts or ideas about something. I'll get into this in more detail, but this is Jupiter and Gemini. So Gemini is a thought. I'll get into it in just a second. Okay, so that's high consciousness. That's God Source talking to you, warning you, I believe. I think you're thinking too much. Jupiter's about expansion. Gemini thinks and thinks and thinks, ruled by Mercury. Oh, nice. You got the Fortune, or the Wheel of Fortune. This is a major arcana card. This is what's on your mind. So it looks like you're trying to figure out why life's not quite going the way you want it to go. As you're kind of wondering, okay, when is shit going to happen in my favor? It's in the upright. You're expecting it to happen in your favor, and it likely will, but I think at this point, Spirit's trying to tell you to get out of your own way. Get the fuck out of your own head. That's what this card says to me. Swords are air, and that usually means intellect but very much thoughts. And as you know, the brain can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. And in this case, I wouldn't say it's your worst enemy, but it's hindering you from getting to this next level. This, as I said, this card is Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini. Oops. Yeah, there it is. And Gemini is thinking, and Jupiter is bigger, expansive. So I think you are thinking your way into non-movement. Or you're thinking so much, all rational, not intuitive, and that's surprising for you, Scorpio. Water sign, Pluto ruler, very intuitive, very intuitive spiritual beings. So if you want to get this to the next level, if you want, you know something's about to happen, something good is about to happen, fortune is going to be turned in your favor, and it's happening. You know it, actually, but you got to get out of your own head. And whatever these thoughts are you're thinking, they're not serving you. This is a warning. You're relying too much on that Mercurian logic and not enough on yourself, which is that watery. You're watery, and water is intuition. Use your gut more. Stop trying to think and rationalize quite so much. It's important to do that, but not this much. This is too much. All right, let's see what subconscious is saying. This is very exciting. Whatever's going to happen is going to be big. Fortune's turning in your direction. That's major arcana. It's going to happen one way or another. But you're being negative, I believe. So you want to watch for some messages. Use that scorpionic instinct of intuition. Let me just get here. I got two cards, actually. Yeah. I got the Hanged Man, and I got, in reverse, actually. And I got the Four of Wands in the upright. So I think, so obviously consciously you're wondering, when's fortune going to come out in my favor? And it is going to come out in your favor. You're thinking too much negatively, okay? And you're in a holding pattern right here. So the Hanged Man is about spiritual growth, for sure. But the Hangman is also about a waiting period, a gestation period. And it looks like whatever is going to happen here is going to, I mean, the subconscious is basically saying there's stability to come. There's happiness and completion to come. That's 4. 4 is a complete number, and 4 is Venus and Aries. And it sounds like opposites, I know, Venus and Aries. They're lovers, but Venus and Aries actually is 2 opposites. It's the male and the female, like the positive and the negative charge, right? So when you put them together, they actually create a balanced environment, believe it or not. And when something is balanced, it's stable. Okay, so you're being called to get out of your head for sure. Stop thinking negative thoughts. And also, I know you're waiting for this to happen, but it's almost like you're martyring yourself. You're getting, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word, I can't think of it, I'm sorry. But it's a form of martyring yourself, where the negative thinking that's going on here is keeping you from this and this. And subconscious, Our Lady is telling you here, you know what? Engage both sides of yourself. And I think in this situation, because yin and yang and masculine and feminine tend to be left and right brain associated, I think it's telling you to embrace your feminine side more. Again, Venus with Aries, making a 4, stability. Because this is hurting you. The constant logic and rationale of thinking, yang energy, right, is causing you to start like feeling sorry for yourself, because you're not You're not engaging all parts of yourself. And because that's the case, you're not seeing the full picture. You may not be seeing the blessings that are coming, that are nearly in your hands already. And again, all this energy with that eclipse on the 21st is going to turn fortune in a lot of people's favor. So be ready. And bring in your feminine side, you know? And if you're a female, you can be relying too much on yang energy if you're a female. I do it myself sometimes. So when that happens, I just wax my mustache. No. But when that happens, well, yeah, I do. But when that happens, I remember that I need to engage that other part of myself, the intuitive part, the part that goes with their gut, not just with their thought, because they're both intelligences. Both are intelligences. And I think the female part will serve you much more right now. I hope that made sense to you. I think right now what you're looking at is thinking negatively, and Spirit is telling you you're thinking negatively. You're all in your head, and it's not positive. Fortune is going to turn in your favor, but you're martyring yourself with all of this. You're kind of like, oh, woe is me. When's it ever going to happen for me? I deserve it. Evan knows I deserve it, but I've been fucked over. It's because, you know, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for this type of behavior, but it is a form of martyrdom. But I believe that Spirit is telling you here to engage less of the yang mental energy, more of the heart center. And even there's a heart in the center of it, which was quite funny. It's kind of a gruesome heart, but it is a heart nonetheless. Get out of the head and more into the heart a little bit. Get out of the logic, concrete thought processes, the flow charts, and get into the intuition. Dive into that water that is Scorpio. Okay? And when you engage both sides and you stop doing this so much, maybe that means taking a break from the thoughts and relaxing. Lightening up a little bit. Definitely lighten up. Definitely lighten up. And when you're doing that, say, how do I feel? Not just what do I think of this? You're thinking a lot. How do I feel about this? Okay? What does this really mean? And you know, actually that Pluto retrograde in Capricorn might serve you well at this time, because engaging that reflective energy is a feminine thing. So instead of staying here with about how unfair this is and martyring yourself, waiting for your shift to come in, which we know is coming in regardless. This is major arcana, and this is major arcana. So what's happening? Instead of sitting there doing that, maybe make a psychological or a spiritual investigation into why it hurts so much. Why does this hurt so much? Why am I thinking this way? And why does it hurt so much? What would it mean if I weren't appreciated? What would it mean if I didn't get the award? What does that mean? Why does it hurt so much? And that reflective, it's not sounding very positive, but I think it really is. I think this is growth here, because there's good stuff coming. You got to get out of your own way. And that way happens to be a very masculine way. You need to get into the feminine side of things and be reflective and be soft and laugh a little. A little levity would help too. Okay, guys, I hope that didn't sound like I was being a bitch or anything. It's just what I see. And, you know, if you have questions about it, or if you want to tell me to fuck off, feel free to put that in the messages below. If you would like a personal reading, something that's a little more specific to your situation, if this doesn't speak to if this doesn't speak to you, or sort of does, something more specific, email me at mimimemes@hotmail.com. I do have a website, but it's under construction at the moment, so it's better just to email me, and then we can discuss the time and so forth. And I will be back for the lunation readings, and possibly a Mercury retrograde. I'm not sure. It really depends. But just keep all those energies in mind, and it's a lot to take on, because a lot's going on in August. But take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Get out of your head. A little levity. Have a laugh. And feel more than think. Definitely feel more than think. All right, Scorpio. Thanks so much for hanging in there for 25 minutes. Boy. You take care of yourself.